heart control, caffeine, melatonin, love, heart control, caffeine, you get me going. Brain, heart control, caffeine, melatonin, love, brain, heart, wake up, smack. Nice to meet ya. Who could you be? I am
Hello, welcome back to Talking Comics. Today I'll be talking about the newest X-Men comic series and Uncanny X-Men.
I surrender! Not.
I first want to talk about the new X-Men series, then I'll talk about Uncanny. The new X-Men series, in my opinion so far, has been pretty interesting. I'll say one thing I really like is the artwork. It's very dynamic in a way while still being quite stylized at times. I do know some people have complained that Scott, aka Cyclops, looks a bit young, and I do agree he kinda does look quite young for someone who's maybe, I think, like 30 or even 40 now because of comic timelines, but personally I still really like how the comic looks, and the action all looks really good in it. Now, of course, this story obviously talks about Krakoa, as it was such a big thing, and now that Krakoa's gone, mutants are back dealing with being with humans and being mistreated still. But in my opinion, the comic series, at least right now, is more focused on talking about the fact that adults are suddenly popping up with mutant abilities when they're older. Normally the way the mutant gene works is you'd get young, at least like when you're a teenager. But suddenly now adults are getting it, and it's causing obviously kind of problems as people kind of freak out when they find out they have powers. A lot of people have been theorizing what this could possibly mean, or if this will cause certain characters who were never mutants to now be called mutants. A big theory going about is that they're going to announce that Juggernaut is actually a mutant. For people who don't know, Juggernaut never was a mutant. He always got his powers from a demon, aka also a crystal. It's very confusing, but I also kind of like how weird it is. But a big theory is right now that they're going to, at some point, say that he technically gained a mutant gene later in life. Obviously, besides that whole element of the story, you have the kind of classic dynamics of Cyclops being a leader and needing to try and keep track of all these mutants and try and help them, while also obviously other stuff going on in the background, like such as technically Magneto is on the team and we don't know much about what he might do in the future, so I'm interested to see what they will do, because he could go back to trying to make him a villain, but in my opinion I think it would be more interesting to keep him as this anti-hero / hero character in the team. Overall, I quite like this series and I'm interested to see what they do. I am slightly worried about the whole adults getting the X gene later in life. I'm just worried it will cause some bad retcon to happen, but I could be completely wrong. It ends up being something really cool in the future. But yeah, I would suggest checking it out if you want to try and get into X-Men, especially if you want to try and get into newer X-Men stuff. But I would say try and look into the Krakoa era a bit, especially because it's such a big thing and it's obviously going to be mentioned a couple of times in this.
Show the ladies some respect.
Oh, so scary, Jubilee. Can we stop now?
Computer, end program. Scary enough for you, but...
Uncanny X-Men, in my opinion, is the comic series that actually deals with the Krakoa era a bit more. At least, in my opinion, it does. I feel like it's talked a bit more in Uncanny, and in Uncanny X-Men, it's kind of said that Rogue is kind of the main character in this comic. Or at least she'll maybe be the leader and for the Uncanny X-Men. And I think that was a good choice, because from this issue alone, I think she's quite interesting a character, especially since she's still dealing with the trauma of the Krakoa event, and she doesn't really know what to do after it. And she doesn't even just mean herself, she means mutants as a whole. They don't really have anywhere to go, and the places they do have to go still don't exactly treat them right, and the ones what do kind of try to do it for just profit reasons, something X Factor talks about, what I have an entire other video planned for. Now, another reason people might want to pick up Uncanny X-Men instead of the new X-Men series is because Uncanny X-Men will feature the team from the X-Men animated series. So you'll have Wolverine, Rogue, Gambit, Nightcrawler. I think there's only a couple of others missing. Jubilee's in there, but I'm pretty sure Beast isn't, as Beast is in the new X-Men series. Also, Beast is a very complicated character in the comics. But this will definitely cause more people to go check it out, maybe. From my knowledge, this team has never happened before. Like, they've never actually had this team before. So it'll be interesting to see that dynamic, and I'm kind of wondering what makes the team. Because right now they acknowledge that X-Men exists as a team, so I'm wondering if they're just going to be like, this is still X-Men, it's just they're not with the other group. Or they're going to actually say this is an entirely different team. Right now, at the time of recording, I don't know exactly where Uncanny X-Men will be heading. I don't know what their big villain or like their overall plan is, but I will say, like the other X-Men stuff, I am interested, and I like what they're doing with Rogue, so I'll probably also keep reading for that aspect. But yeah, I suggest also checking this out. Once again, if you're looking to get into X-Men, it will always be slightly difficult, but with this stuff, it will kind of help at times, because I think if like just jumping in and kind of learning at least the X-Men characters at these time points, obviously you can try and go back and read all the omnibuses or like whatever about their past, but it's going to be a lot of work, and I've always been, and at least to me, I've always suggested reading newer stuff then going back to read older stuff, just because older comics are written in a very specific way that might make people not want to read comics, at least in my opinion. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, you can like it. If you didn't, you can dislike it. That's completely fine. But yeah, like I said before, thank you for watching. If you want, check out these comics. It's your choice. But yeah, that's all, and goodbye.